Hey out there. Hey, this is the evening of January 16th, 2015, and I'm sitting here in Northern California. And I wanted to try to be brief tonight, but I wanted to say a word about health. And I don't typically get into talking about diet much. I have a little bit in the past. I contracted big toe gout, and discovered that it was what was causing it was likely the soda pop I was drinking. They changed the formula without telling the public, and worst of all, they didn't tell the public that what they were doing with this high fructose corn syrup that purportedly contains mercury and lead. It's very toxic. It's like a GMO product. The corn is almost all GMO now. And so we're talking about the possibility that you're getting pesticides that are grown into the corn seed in order to protect the crops. And they're feeding us this stuff. Well, the insects won't eat it, but it's okay for us to eat this stuff. At any rate, I discovered that it was likely the high fructose corn syrup. I actually had a daughter that was pointing that out to me, and I thought it was nonsense at first. I mean, it sounds so innocent and healthy, doesn't it? And it's not like I don't have any experience with understanding what is and what is not healthy. But I'm just one of these kind of people that always is trying to push the boundaries and norms and what's accepted and what's not, and a little stubborn, I would say. But I've always enjoyed junk food, sugary foods, cookies, cakes, pastries, candy bars, you name it, pie. But the soda pop was a new one, and I had gotten addicted to it for a relatively short period. I'd say probably maybe a year and a half or so. I was just seemed to be consuming it all the time with meals and everything, and for a while I was getting away with it and just tasted great, anyhow, it really kicked me in the teeth. And so I've had to make some lifestyle changes. I got online and I got a lot of corroborating information. That's how I did a self-diagnostic. I didn't need to go to a doctor to figure out I had big toe gout. There's so many symptoms that match up, and you can be pretty sure you've got it, and it all makes sense. That this is what caused it. You get this uric acid builds up in your kidneys. Your kidneys can't process all the uric acid, so they dump it in your bloodstream. It happens a lot more to men than women, at least before 50. And it'll settle typically in one of a fella's big toes. Usually it's one, sometimes it's both. But once it does, when that toe, that extremity there, gets cold, the uric acid crystallizes, and that's what causes this excruciating pain. Whereby, to me, I would describe it like somebody holding a torch on your toe and you couldn't do anything about it. It emanates from your whole foot. Your toe is just ready. It feels like it's going to explode. But, of course, I got off the high fructose corn syrup and I took some proactive steps. And one of the things I started doing was juicing half a lemon. And it's a very simple, quick process. So after my morning coffee, which I never did give up fully my morning coffee, although I did cut back. I was up as high as maybe 9 8-ounce cups a day, which is quite a bit. And today I'm doing less than a quart, and I take it relatively weak by most people's standard, I would say. So I've cut the acid that my intake quite a bit. And at the same time, adding the lemon after my morning coffee with a glass of filtered water. Of course, you shouldn't use any municipal water unless you know it to be safe and fluoride free. Because the fluoride is a toxic substance. They're dumping in the municipal water supply. There's no way they can mete out in dosage. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if the government thinks fluoride's so important, then they could say, hey, come here and if you want a supplement, we strongly recommend it. You could do your own independent research, but they're just force feeding us this stuff, and it doesn't make any sense at all. But so the lemon I recommend for everybody out there. If you want to get healthier, you want to look better, you want to feel better, and so do a lemon after your morning coffee. It goes with everything. A lemon. I've never heard of pure lemon with water giving anybody an upset stomach. I usually mix enough water with the lemon so that it's not too strong and it's not too weak. It's just like a nice little shot of pure lemonade. And with cold water, I love it like that. And so I'd say a quarter lemon, probably to a third cup of water, 12-ounce cup. So maybe 4 ounces to a quarter lemon, maybe 8 ounces to a half a lemon. And it tastes about right to me there, but you can, dilute it to your taste preference. Another thing that I strongly recommend doing that's really cheap and simple, and it's a medicinal food, and it's everywhere. Any market you can pick up parsley, and I don't think there's any issue of bugs in parsley. I think it's considered an herb. It's also related to celery. I just found that out recently, but when you think about it, it does have some similarities. But anyhow, you can research it yourself. There's no health warnings that I really came across with any substance that would deter anybody from wanting to eat parsley. Only really good stuff is out there, information. And I feel it's a very powerful medicinal herb for cleaning our blood. As soon as you start chewing, I believe it's even better than putting it through a juicer, because it's the most natural just to chew it up, And it may seem a little gross, but you know what? So is medicine. So is going to the doctor and having to take a shot. Which again, I don't take shots myself. Maybe, there might be a case. I guess if I got bit by a rattlesnake or something, I might go get an anti-venom shot. But I generally don't go to doctors. I'm glad they're there. If I'm in a car accident, my kids are. I'm glad they're there. Believe me, that people have, gotten educated in that field, surgeons and everything. I couldn't do that job, and I'm just really glad that we have doctors. But I also was a part owner of a health food store back in the 70s, and my sisters and I. And so I read a lot of books in that time. I learned a lot of stuff from talking to a lot of different people. My dad was always into health foods. He helped us get the store started. I was only a teenager back then, but he contracted multiple sclerosis in his 30s. And he just passed away last year at the age of 86, which is nearing the record for people that are living with multiple sclerosis. So all in all, he did really good. And he still liked to indulge in rich foods, chocolate cake and sausages and this sort of thing. Right up to the last year of his life, I remember him enjoying eating as he pleased. But he also was very conscientious, and he made a health blender drink regularly, and he put everything in. I can't start listing the ingredients. It was too plentiful. I did post a video years ago called Rico's Healthy Blender Drink. It's been a few years, but it's very interesting, He even adds vitamins to this drink. But, I think it's a lot simpler. And one of those things I would highly recommend, and I can guarantee it, if you start chewing up, you buy a bunch of broccoli for like 50-something cents, and you split it in quarters or thirds, and you just do, it lasts quite a while in the fridge. It's just, one of those kind of herbs. It's full of life, so they can live a long time. It just stays nice, dark green. I don't know if you can see it in that light, but it's a nice dark green still. But, so you don't have to do a whole lot. I have trouble because I've got some teeth that aren't perfect, and it gets stuck in my teeth when I'm chewing, so periodically I've got to stop and get a toothpick and get the stuff out. Kind of like how celery does with the stringiness, the fiber it's got in it. But I like to swallow the pulp. I think that's probably very healthy for your guts. So that's get another thing you're getting by eating it whole that you're not going to get from a juicer. And it really doesn't have a bad taste. It's a little bit bitter, but it's just so healthy that why not? I mean, if you want to be able to do a little junk food here and there, and I haven't given up junk food, believe me, I still like to eat some junk food, although I have learned I'm not young anymore. I'm 56, so I've had to kind of curb my desires a little bit for various reasons. But one of them is I just don't want to be in pain, and I want to keep some of my teeth. So, you know, you got to get kind of serious about the whole thing. So, anyhow, give it a try. I highly recommend it. Get a bunch of parsley and just eat it, man. Just do it for health's sake. Another thing, I'm a smoker, and I feel like smokers suffer. Their circulation suffers from the smoking. It does, the smoking, hurts your lungs. And your lungs have a harder time processing the oxygen, I think. So that, your body has a hard time getting the oxygen in your blood and all that. So this stuff is good for producing red blood cells. So you can see I'm a little bit qualified to talk about this stuff. It's not just me making stuff up. I also, in college, I took a health science course, and I learned some basic principles about food. It's very important to get enough protein. Men need more than women. I think it's estimated to be anywhere minimum of 50 to average about 50 to 65 in that range for men. Probably about 10 grams of protein a day less for women. I learned that eggs are physiologically the best protein you can get because of the size of the egg. When you think about the price, even at the higher price for eggs right now, but a dozen jumbo eggs I can get at my supermarket for $3. That's 8 grams of protein per egg. These are these are cage-free hens, and they're antibiotic-free, so not the best. I'm not into fertile eggs. It's kind of grosses me out, the idea of maybe getting a partially hatched chicken. It probably never happens, but it's always kept me away from fertilized eggs. But another form of protein I know is very healthy is fish. And I always like to keep a few cans of skinless, boneless sardines on hand, and they go down real easy. And anybody, if you can eat fish, you can eat a can of skinless, boneless sardines, dab a little mayonnaise on the side to dip them in, a little salt and pepper. Really healthy meal for bachelors or bachelorettes alike. And, I'm just telling you the healthy stuff I eat, because I'm not going to get into, the fact that I like to buy a pack of muffins once in a while, which is, really white flour and sugar and crap like that. But another thing I do is I like cod liver oil, very healthy, particularly for smokers. So it's pretty cheap too. Get a bottle of this, and every once in a while, because vitamin A is powerful in here and it lasts a long time in your body. So maybe, you do a few capsules once a week or every couple of weeks when you remember. But, once in a while, I have a lot of supplements that I end up not using and they get thrown away. I've literally probably spent hundreds and hundreds, if not, over $1,000 on supplements that I ended up not using. Because to me, it gets to be a real drag thinking about supplements all the time. It's supposed to take this pill and this pill and this. I can't do it. But, as I get older, I'm realizing I do have to get a little more serious. I recently ordered some phosphorus because I realized that even in the multiple vitamins from Trader Joe's I was getting, that it didn't have any phosphorus to speak of. So I ordered this super phosphozyme liquid. But then when I was researching it, I learned that, it's important that you balance it out with calcium. So, I've always had a bottle of calcium, magnesium, and zinc hanging around. So here's another thing you can take too. Maybe with it. I'm talking about people mostly when you get older, but when you're young, try to do it with diet. But it's by far the superior method. Now, if you drink alcohol or if you eat sugar, B complex gets drained out of your body. Here's another thing that's very important to anybody out there. This is the brain vitamin. Very important to get, make sure you're getting plenty of it. If you're not getting it from your food through eating, cereals or whatnot, then, it's a good idea to take a supplement. And you'll feel better. You'll look better and feel better. And vitamin E, I understand you should take that sparingly. There's some information out there It's not that hard to get adequate vitamin E, but you want to be doing stuff like avocados and there's several other foods. You got to research this stuff to find out. But it's always better to get the vitamins and minerals and enzymes and all the particulars from your diet as best you can.